The views and opinions expressed by Craig's Terrible Idea podcast are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, employer, or company. Any content provided by the authors and their guests are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything. No animals were harmed in the creation of the podcast, as far as we know.
What's up?
What's up? How you doing, brother?
Not much, man. How was last week?
Oh, not bad. We survived.
Yeah.
You know how it is. Nice shirt, dude.
I know, right? So I got this at Comic-Con about 2 years ago. I mean, Bruce Campbell.
I think I was at that one. You mean the one where they had the cabin?
Yeah, I went.
Yeah, I
That's
was
where
there.
I got the shirt. I was walking to the
Yeah.
cabin. They were all out of the foam hands that looked like a chainsaw,
Oh, okay.
right? And so they gave me this T-shirt as a complimentary gift. So
Nice.
awesome.
He says hit the button.
There is no button. Hold on. Let me see if I can invite this guy again. Contacts. TP. Nope. Looks like I gotta send.
Test.
Yeah, looks like I gotta send him the invitation again. So just give me a second. Yeah, man. No, that was a good show, man.
You watched it? I watched a good part of it. I was enjoying it. I don't remember why I stopped.
Well, they went into the third season, you know.
Yeah, I think I watched the entire first season. I might not have. I'm not sure.
Yeah, hang on a second. Let me see. So we want to try and keep this under 40 minutes. So
He's asking you to send the invite.
I did. I just messaged him back. He's got the invite. So we got our first real subscriber last week. So
Oh,
hopefully,
yeah?
yeah, man. Like hopefully we'll pick up a couple more.
All right.
All right. He's got it.
Somebody likes us.
I know, right?
Who'd have thunk it?
Who'd have thunk it? There we go. All right. There we go. All right. We're all here.
Hey, the gang's all here.
The gang's all here. All right. Welcome to April 4th edition of Craig's Terrible Idea. I am your co-host. I am your host, Craig Wong, and here are my two moronic co-hosts, Eric Lehman and Don Pickett.
Once again, you were not voted host.
Yeah,
That did
well,
not happen.
Yeah,
This is
whatever.
a pure democracy.
Right.
Eric, we need to take a vote.
Yeah.
Democracy
You know what?
anymore.
My
not
vote
democracy
says let him
anymore.
still be interim host. He let him call it. It makes him feel good.
Yeah, right.
I'm an
Acting host.
egalitarian. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, sure. Anywho, I figured that, we past a couple of times we were just talking about politics. Let's talk about what we really love, video games. All right. So
I was gonna disagree with that by noticing something I saw when I was riding my bike today.
what's that?
I was riding in Brooklyn. I was riding up to Prospect Park, and I saw an Asian dude out running errands, and he had an American flag stuck in his backpack,
Okay.
which I think was his way of saying, "I'm an American. Don't beat the shit out of me."
He's probably on to that anti-Asian violence rally all the way down by the courthouses in Lower Manhattan. There's a huge rally today. So
Oh, could be. Either way, I was like, if
Oh,
that's
is that what the Brooklyn Bridge was closed for too?
yeah, they partially closed the Brooklyn Bridge because they were doing a march across,
Right.
and it's a good thing. I mean, like they need
Yeah.
they need to do it, but I'm gonna, in my honest opinion, you could wave the flag, you can hold the banner, you can clap and shout and sing kumbaya, but all it really is, if you looked at any of the photos or you saw any of the news coverage, it was just mainly attended by a bunch of Asian people. There were very few other people of color or even white people there. That's not the message or the type of solidarity that I think they should be looking for. If they really want to get the message out there, there should be, the inclusion of other people.
Well, I'm
right,
sure
aside
that, I
from
mean, I
Asians.
can't imagine, correct me if I'm wrong. I can't imagine that they geared it to exclude other races.
No,
I think
it's not that they're excluding they did it to exclude other races. They did it, to, present their plight, but I feel that other people should have shown up, right? Like I should have
Sure.
seen some Black Lives Matter, or I should have seen some, I should have seen not the JDL, but there's another one out there for people of Jewish descent, that they,
I know what you're talking about.
you know what you want to talk
So
about.
wait, did
Anti-Defamation League?
yeah,
Anti-Defamation League, right? Like you should have seen some solidarity in that. They should have been like a presenter or a co-host, saying that we.
they're too busy calling anti-Zionists anti-Semitic.
Well, it's not even just that, or someone from BLM or any.
Yeah. So what's what has been? I mean, I don't know if there's an official stance, but like, what's been their stance on this? What's been coming out of BLM about this stuff?
So that's the funny part. I started to Google, what was BLM's official response to all the anti-Asian violence, and technically there is none. You have individual people saying it. You have
sure.
You have some small groups saying it, but the people who started, pretty much silent. And
well, I mean that is a little bit of the intention of persecuting groups separately is to keep them kind of myopic and kind of paying attention to their own problems and not joining in solidarity with other people because they're too concentrated on their own issues.
Well, that's how things just don't get done. And
right.
That's
how, well, that's the intent, right?
Right. And that's how, like when BLM activists started marching through the streets, I mean, for me, myself, I doing my support, I donated to charity. I couldn't have, during that time, you and I, we could not have attended those rallies because, we were working. And
well, plus, I attended a couple.
Are you attended a couple of them? Okay. I mean, good for you. I mean, I wasn't able to attend, but, I showed my support. I put my voice out there. I visited, a ton of Black businesses. I'm not trying to do it to make myself feel better, but, that was applied out there. That was a right thing in my mind that I should do to help, people recognize that, you are not alone. People like myself want to help you out, because I understand your plight. But, when it came to us, if you really think about it, like all the incidences where you've had Asian people who were attacked, no one jumped in to help. All they did was maybe record it or maybe called 911, right?
Well, in their defense, that's what the cops tell you to do. They say, don't get involved. They say, call us or record it. Like if you talk to the cops, they'll say, if you see someone getting attacked, do not intervene because you might get your ass beat too.
Yeah, you might get your ass beat too, but you see an old lady getting her ass kicked.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. If that was your mom, wouldn't you want other people to help out too? Right.
Well, one of the things I remember that Eric, you and I were talking about this like earlier this year and even last year with BLM is that one of the things that we both thought was making a difference this time around is there were significant numbers of white people at the demonstrations, at the marches, which I remember us saying we both thought that may have been like a tipping point. You get the suburban white folks and all that shit involved in BLM, and suddenly you get a much wider reach.
Yeah, I mean, suddenly now, like again, I mean, you start to see movement because Black people are only 13% of the population, and as much as I would want that 13% to be listened to regardless. It's like it has nothing to do with white savior complex or anything like that. It just has to do with pure numbers. Once you get closer to a majority of people agreeing that this is a problem, then things start to happen.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I guess we need to. I mean, the hope would be is that like even that movement. And I feel like the messaging is in this direction. Like it's not about necessarily, I mean, that one was a little more focused on police brutality, but like really like what these movements at heart all need to be is like, we're all equal. We all deserve equal treatment. We all deserve equal opportunity.
Right.
And that, I mean, it's just a matter of getting these various groups that are facing their own adversities from their own angles, to recognize that they have that in common and all kind of come together.
Right. But it doesn't take more than a press release or a 2-minute statement, just saying that we express our solidarity with you and we hope.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not arguing.
And, I mean, for me, it's getting, I mean, like, so let's roll it up real quickly. So today I got my vaccination at the Javits Center. I got my change.
Congratulations.
Hooray.
How's your 5G reception? Good?
Yeah. The microchip still hasn't
Yeah,
embedded.
the
itself in
nanobots
it.
should
Yeah.
start working with your phone. Yeah.
But the funny part was riding on the train and coming back, you know, you had guys coming on the train, like literally, like just, I had the going there, this big black dude just walked on the train, started saying, "Ooh, that stinks. Oh, y'all smell, blah, blah." And he started literally spitting everywhere. And people were just like moving away, just getting the fuck away. And I'm looking at myself like, come over here and say some stupid shit to me.
Like
please.
mentally ill motherfucker.
You know what? That's the hard. I mean, like, dude, there are people who are mentally ill, and then there are people out there who are just trolling to get a reaction. And
Sure.
I think this guy was trolling to get a reaction because
And fucking with like Asian people specifically, or
just
just
fucking
people?
with you. This guy just came
Just
on
people.
board, started yelling and screaming out like, "Who?" Everybody stank, and he started spitting on the floor. That stinks. He laid across an entire bench. People just got up, and he didn't specifically target anyone. He was just being an annoying prick.
Did he spit at anybody?
I mean, he was spitting at basically he was spitting on the floor, but he was
Oh.
spitting in the direction of people literally across from him. So,
Oof.
you know, I mean, how would,
And that's
That
assault.
sound-
Like
that-
spit is
that-
assault.
well, they didn't, I know they didn't,
Yeah.
he didn't hit them.
Yeah.
But that also sounds like maybe on the mentally ill spectrum to me. You know what I'm
A
saying?
little bit.
Like,
it sounds a little bit to
You
me.
know what?
too,
No,
but-
that's
There's
that's actually
something
asking
wrong.
for a fight. That's
Well,
it
well, you
is.
could be mentally ill and ask
yeah,
for a
you,
fight.
you got to kind of be mentally ill to ask for a fight in New York City.
That makes me definitely mentally ill because I'm in the back of my mind. I'm saying, please come
But
over.
this is what we've been saying.
Hey, but Craig, admit
finally
the first
hear it.
step. We're so happy.
Yeah, right. Whatever, man. Because I find that, you know, all these cowards pick on, like, you know, they pick on the elderly, they pick on females and women, you know, girls and women, or they pick on like guys that don't look like they'll fight back. Like they just another 3 attacks, one in Central Park.
That's. I mean, this is the way bullying
And,
works.
and
But
yeah, that's the way bullying works. And to me, I'm sorry, you're gonna be marching around with your sign, your banner, and singing "Kumbaya." Yeah, that's great. You know, it was nice. You had a couple hundred people show up to your rally, but I'm gonna be honest with you, that doesn't stop them. You know, that doesn't stop
No,
anything.
it doesn't stop. But like
Right.
I said, like the solution's holistic. Like that's part of the solution. Like part of the reason this shit is so bad right now is you had 4 years of a racist in the White House and all his
Right.
fucking enablers and
Bro,
Stephen
but-
Miller, who is a fucking Nazi.
right,
They were, you know, they enabled a lot of this stuff.
right.
and then if you combine that with like like most Asian communities seem, at least in America, seem to be more of the mind to keep your head down and just keep flying straight,
Right.
and that's the best way to win people over. That, I mean, bullies are going to take advantage of that.
And let's
you
put the elephant in the room right now. So other people of color have been attacking Asians.
Yeah. See,
Right.
let me ask a very white boy question. to
Sure,
you.
go ahead.
Why are Black people and people of color attacking Asians?
Because, all right, so there are a ton of theories out there. I mean, who knows? Unless you have you have the guy sitting across from you. So my take on it is like most of the people of color who have been attacking Asians basically are either mentally ill or they're despondently poor, or you know, they're from the hood, right? And I'm pretty sure that these guys have gone into a business probably owned by an Asian person and they got treated badly, and so that stigma sticks with them. You know, this is my chance to get revenge because if I smack up an Asian person nowadays, since that's all the rage, I'm not going to catch any flack for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we saw this happen in the LA riots a lot too,
Right.
like back in the day. Like, I mean, yeah, I think,
Right.
you know, a lot of, and there it was, I think, Korean usually, like, but like, yeah, Asian owned businesses in Black communities. And yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
there's a cultural disconnect that
there's-
causes static. And then, yeah.
And there was a scene in Do the Right Thing. Remember
Yeah.
that when they start to remember that?
Right.
Yep.
Right, the nail salon thing, I think. Was it nail
Yeah.
salon? Yeah, it was a nail
No,
salon.
I don't. I think it was a deli actually.
Something like that.
All right.
But the
but-
guy, yeah, but I'm, you know, it was referenced even back then.
And you know, this is what boggles my mind. I mean, you don't want people to be prejudiced against you, but yet you take the opportunity. And you know, to basically to say it's like, you know, I'm not going to blame culture as a fact, but most of the time people just don't want to deal with the violence. They'll just take it and hopefully walk away and nothing will happen. But you know what happens when you do that? You get sucker punched, right? You get beat on and it's not going to stop. So as an example, like that little old lady, a 75-year-old lady in Oakland, California, who took that 2x4 and went upside the head of that fucking that white guy who was calling her, all sorts of derogatory statements. More power to her. And you know what? I bet you that guy won't screw with any more old Asian people anymore because 2x4s are found everywhere. So to me, if you show that you can fight back, if there's another incident when some guy comes up and starts beefing and he gets his ass thoroughly handed to him, yeah, that's a sign that people, we're not going to take this shit anymore. And we're going to start fighting back because technically the model minority bullshit, I don't want to do it. That's why every day I go outside. Maybe I'm sick in the head, but like, oh, please fuck with me. Please fuck with me. Someone screw around with me. Say something. Because I've had people do that to me. And like, you know what? When I turned around and like, I've been bad, I've basically yelled. My level went from here to here, like in a second. And that's what threw them off. Like they didn't realize I was really going to take it to the next level. Like I was willing to, throw down and go for broke.
So
then, yeah.
To your point, the dirty secret of peaceful protest is that they kind of need the riots in order to actually be effective.
No, they need a reminder. Okay, so let's look at the Black Panther movement, right? So Martin Luther King's marching around, they're getting hosed down, cops are coming and beating the shit out of him. There's some guy out there, got a little bit pissed and said, you know what? Black guys with guns might stop these people from doing stupid shit like that. You know what they did? They marched around, they had their black jacket, they had solidarity, they created a very powerful icon. They had very good, like, I don't know, like Louis Farrakhan, guys like that speaking, and they showed that they weren't going, they were willing to fight back. And that actually scared the living shit. Who was director of the FBI back then?
I mean, I was more talking along the lines of like, peaceful protests have been happening since last summer, almost every day here in New York City.
Right.
How often is it on the news? Not very, right?
Well,
if there's a riot,
well,
then the news starts paying attention. Not, you know what I mean? Like, and so they also pay attention to the peaceful protest the next day. You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of you can't advocate for the violence, right? Like, because it's bad,
right?
And it is bad,
right?
But the unfortunate truth is that the violence gets the eyes,
right?
And then you start paying it. Then hopefully some people will start hearing the message,
right? And
that the protests are actually trying to say.
99.9% of all Asians out there are pretty rational, like-minded. They don't want any trouble. They're mature human beings.
But not you.
But not me. No, I'm the
Okay.
0.01% that makes up for all the
check it.
fuck ups for the rest of them. Because for me, you listen. One guy decides to do it. He picks on the wrong guy. He gets his ankle. He gets his face broken in. Right, the news is all over it. Right, and then see what happens after that. I mean, that incident has not happened yet, but and here's the other thing too, right? So the old lady, the 65-year-old Filipino woman who got beat down by that ex-con and those 3 fucking doormen who were cowardly pieces of shit, didn't even want to intervene and help. They actually locked the door. And the best part was the union that represents them said that they had called the cops and they were trying to make sure that the safety of all the other residents when the videotape shows them staring, looking at the poor woman getting her ass beat, and finally one of the guys walking over, locking the door, and that's it. You never see them pick up a phone, and they only came out after the cops showed up.
Now, I do got to say, like, I agree with you. Like, watching that video,
I couldn't watch more than like 5 seconds of it.
Don, you're right. The cops will always tell you that. And it's probably the wiser course not to insert yourself. But I can't imagine that. You know what I mean? Like, for myself. You know what I mean? Like seeing, someone just, again, who is incapable essentially of defending themselves against their assailant and literally doing nothing. And I can understand again, I have no respect for my body, so I'll just insert it. But I can understand most people aren't willing to do that.
Right.
But just find some way to interject, even if it's just vocal. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to watch them just kind of standing and watching.
Right. It's funny that you mentioned.
I'm not.
I know you're not.
I'm not defending what they did. I'm just saying that like there's the official NYPD line, which is don't get involved, call us.
Right.
But like those 3 doormen, like I sort of, like I'm a skinny white boy. I'm probably not going to intervene successfully in much. But
you don't have to physically intervene. What happened was a white guy came over and started yelling at this guy, which basically scared him off.
Right.
Well,
Right.
but
Right.
what I'm thinking is like if there were 3 doormen, 3-on-1 is pretty good odds.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how good how good of a fighter and how big each one
Right,
is.
but they didn't do
Once you
it.
got 3.
Yeah,
Right, but they
3-on-1
didn't
is
do
good
it.
odds.
They didn't do it. They didn't do it. So
Or 2-on-1 if one
Now
was
the more structural part of this would be like so that building, the owners of that building, they put out a statement,
yeah,
saying like, oh, we're going to suspend these guys and we're going to review it.
right.
So the reality is they may have had marching orders that said, you worry about our tenants and you worry about the inside. Right.
I'm guaranteed.
And now what I would hope is that this company now, in order to do better PR, this is going to be purely capitalistic motivations. But the hope would be we also don't let things just happen on our sidewalk. You know what I mean? Like our employees, we do expect you to stop this kind of disturbance outside as well.
It's a PR nightmare for them because the union explained it one way and the video shows that it contradicts everything that the union had said.
Yeah.
Right. I'm pretty sure investigations will keep going on, but
yeah,
I will not surprise me if these guys didn't call 911 until maybe a few minutes when the beating was getting at its most vicious.
Maybe.
Okay, because you didn't see immediately these guys trying to scare the guy off or pick up a phone. I'm calling the cops.
There could have been a phone off camera though.
Maybe, but you know what? From what I'm left to understand, other people called 911, and these guys didn't come out until the cops showed up. So, I mean, like, my question to the viewers would be like, if you don't want to get involved and you see someone getting their ass handed to them, just think about it. That could be your brother, mother, sister, son, daughter, right? Niece, nephew, whatever. And if you found out that people just stood there and did nothing, how would you feel about it? Right?
Yeah.
Right. How would you feel about it? So as a whole, I think we as a society, we need to take more responsibility of helping each other out because, filming this and putting it on Facebook and YouTube and like maybe handing it off to the evidence as a cop, sure, that's great and all. But you know what? You see another human being who's basically defenseless getting their ass handed to him, and you're just going to stand there and not watch and just watch. I don't know, man. Like,
I mean, this is kind of quintessentially American, unfortunately. Like, I forget which country it was that I had read this about, but it was some Asian country, not China or Japan. It was one of the but basically they had a national day where they're supposed to do something for themselves, right? Like just take this, you don't work this day, do something for you.
Right.
And basically what people do is they cook a family for their a meal for their larger family. They do things for them. Doing for themselves is doing something for others. And that's how they, and I mean, that's, honestly, like if we all have experienced that, do something good for someone else and it makes you feel great. You know what I mean? Like, and but Americans that's not our initial thought. You give us a national day to do stuff for ourselves, we'll be in the spa, we'll be in the, doing things literally for ourselves, know, and I think that's very
because
American.
There's no social responsibility. It's the way that you grew up.
We're very individualistic, extremely individualistic.
And it's also the way that social media has presented itself. I mean, like, let's look at the biggest waste of human flesh out there, the Kardashians, right? They have not
biggest. I mean, I
they
know
have
what
not.
you're saying, but
they have
damn.
not.
No, I'm with Eric here. I've got a bunch of people on the list before the Kardashians.
They have not. They have not contributed to human evolution, aside from the fact
I have a lot of fans of that show that would disagree with
right.
you.
Aside from the fact it made us stupider, right? And I don't even watch that show, and it made.
I've never watched. I honestly I'm a little reluctant to comment too hard because I've never watched it.
No,
I've heard one or two of the Kardashians interviews, and they seem pretty smart.
They're smart marketing wise. Like Donald Trump was smart marketing wise to his viewers. What?
Didn't one of the Kardashians get like their sex tape got leaked or something?
I think all
is that not how they
when their popularity
these people usually
starts to wane?
I don't know.
Sex tape will be released.
Yeah, those. I think those are our media campaigns now.
But my point being is, it starts at home. It starts with parents teaching their kids, hold the door open for a lady, pull the seat out for a lady when she wants to sit down, help an old lady cross the street, like the simple little things, you know.
I mean, I don't know if it's that simple.
It's
I
not
agree.
that simple.
I
But
don't think
it's not nothing, but yeah, I don't,
yeah,
I,
but here's the thing. I think part of it is that, like, most people, okay, I'm not going to say most people, a large bunch of people in this country, maybe not most, but a large of them have no personal experience with violence outside maybe a fight in elementary school or middle school. You know what I'm saying? And but like, so if you see someone who's getting their ass beat, I think, first of all, I think there's some reasonable fear about intervening. If, like, the last
Okay.
time you punched someone was in the middle school room because they jumped in front of you for milk or whatever.
Right.
He had it coming, by the way.
Okay.
But I think it's, I don't think it comes down to how were you raised. I mean, I think that may be part of it, and
All
clearly we can all, like, we can all find examples, but I think it's more I mean, I think why people don't intervene is more complicated than just they were raised wrong.
like I actually have an example of this. Like, so actually from that shirt you're wearing, where you got it, when I went to that Comic-Con with my father-in-law.
Mhm.
My father-in-law, when he was young, was raised in the South, white, Catholic. And then, like, when he was like a teenager, I think they moved to Ridgewood, New Jersey. And now, he lived there for a while. And now he lives like upstate, more or less the sticks, not super, super far upstate, but far enough.
Mhm.
And on the way back on the train from that Comic-Con, there was, it was showtime, right? So some dude comes on the train and he's like, all right, it's showtime. And he's going to do his,
Right.
flipping over the poles routine. He
Right.
puts his radio down, starts the music.
All right.
And then there's this like Eastern European lady with her husband. They're both older on the train. And she says, no, you don't do this on the train, right?
Mhm.
And, and so like me and my father-in-law, we're just sitting in the chairs kind of watching this. And, he's like, all right, whatever. He's going to go into his routine. And in order to stop him, she goes and grabs his radio and throws it.
Oh,
Now, I don't know if you know anything about Black people, but don't fuck with the radio.
don't fuck with
Right?
any of their property.
And
Or that's
yeah,
anybody. It
but I
doesn't
mean,
black,
I'm
white,
making
or
a
whatever.
joke,
That's
but
anybody.
but so this pissed the dude off.
Yeah, of course.
And so it did fairly quickly turn violent. Like this
Mhm.
motherfucker was like, he didn't go and slug her. He went to the husband, and beat and just decked him, and he was on the ground.
Right.
And and then he was turning to the lady, and I think he slapped her. I can't remember, but it essentially escalated.
Wow.
And I handed my shit to my father, and I said, hold on. He's like, no, sit down.
Right.
And I was
Right.
like, well, no, I'm getting up. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and I can't just watch this happening.
Right.
Now, that's what my father-in-law said. He's not a bad guy. He was raised very well. I
Right.
mean, he was raised in a very moral household. Like his mom's dead now, but I mean, she was
Right.
this great woman, nurse, World War II,
Right.
all that shit. But that's the conclusion he came to.
Right.
And I wouldn't say it was because he lacked respect. I wouldn't say it's because he didn't know what the right thing was. I mean, I guess in that scenario, I would disagree with what he considered the right thing. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't say he, you know what I mean? Like, he's a good guy, and he does good things for people. He
Right.
works in a hospital, for Christ's
Right.
sakes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah, so I think it is, like Don said, it's I don't know that it's an easy fix. I'm not sure how to change people's minds on this
It's
kind of
not an
stuff.
easy fix. It's the psyche of fight or flight. Most people will consider the flight part unless they're cornered, and they might fight because their life is on the line for it. Your father was thinking rationally, like, my son, he's not a fighter. This is a really big Black dude that's slapping the shit out of like a middle-aged Eastern European couple. And who knows if he has a knife, or who knows if he has a gun. Maybe
Well,
he's
I have to amend. This is father-in-law. My father probably would have had a different reaction.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so your father-in-law was probably thinking that. I mean, yes, I understand a lot of people don't want to get involved, but here's from my personal experience: if you don't want to get involved, all you have to do is whip out your phone
Yeah,
and
I
start
agree.
saying, I'm calling the cops, and then you
Right.
start giving a description of the guy. There are going to be
Yeah,
two things
even
that
yell out, like if you're going to close the door, yell out
Right.
from a safe
Yeah,
position that you
I'm
can lock before
calling
he gets
the
closer. Yeah,
cops. I'm
Yeah.
calling the cops. And if you want to take it a step further, and as soon as you get on 911, you start describing the situation, and then you start giving a description. And why do I know that this works? I've used this tactic many times when I've been surrounded by people. I was surrounded by 3 guys who wanted to do me harm. And be honest with you, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but it would have been a very hard time for these 3 guys to fuck around with me. But just to de-escalate the situation, I was in a call with 911. Yeah, I have 3 guys standing here. One's about 6 foot. They're all white. One's about 6'2", and one's about 5'7". They're wearing this, that, and the other thing. And then, oh, by the way, there's a camera up there recording the entire thing. When I did that, these guys went, whoop, they just.
Craig, what did you say? Come on, we know it was your fault.
Yeah, how did you
Yeah, what'd you
create
do,
the
Craig?
situation?
What?
How did I mean, like,
Was one of them wearing a Jedi t-shirt and you went after him?
no. It was,
Yeah, I guess it's
one
like,
of
no,
their-
dark side rules.
no, one of their friends was basically tripping out on some fucked up drug and trashing my apartment lobby.
Oh, wait, don't blame this on the drugs.
All
Come on.
right. And he had dropped his phone, right? And these 3 guys, I guess they were buying drugs off of him, came down, right? And they see the phone and they pick it up, and like, I'm calling the cops on this guy, and they said hang up the phone. I'm like, no. And I kept describing.
Wait, hold on.
What?
So the initiation of this situation was you saw people doing a drug deal and you decided to break it up?
This guy was trashing my lobby, right? My
Oh, that
apartment lobby.
dude? That's what we
Yeah,
were talking about?
that
Oh,
dude.
all right. That's different.
And
Yeah,
I was
inside
calling the
your house.
cops
Okay.
on him.
All right.
And
this guy
his three compatriots decided to say, put the phone away, hang up the phone, go away. I'm like, no. And they tried to physically, I mean, the guy, I'll never forget this guy.
I've been in a situation before, and motherfuckers
Right?
say to me, it's like, we can kick your ass, right? I'm like, yeah, and then I'll be free tonight and you'll be in jail. Like,
Right.
I mean, and that's often
And you
done.
just keep going. And like, you know what? It's 3-on-1.
Like,
I
I
don't
got no
care.
shame. I'll let the cops handle my fucking business.
Exactly. I mean, like,
fuck you.
and you know what? They got in my face. They never laid a hand on me, right? If they had laid a hand on me, it would have been a whole different story. I mean, who knows what might have happened.
Once
But-
again, Craig, what trailer park in Queens do you live in, man?
I know.
I mean, the
dude,
stories you've told, it's
you
like,
have
what?
no, you know what? We haven't even talked about video games, and now we're talking about, like my trailer park life in Queens, man.
Yeah, because
But no,
video games are only so interesting.
I know, right?
I've been playing
My
Left 4 Dead
whole
again.
life is a video game. I mean, basically, I
Well,
should've-
you're a GTA character. You just don't know this.
I mean, I haven't
Yeah,
been
but you're a
wasted.
civilian that I accidentally
Knock
drove
on wood.
over.
Knock on wood. I haven't been wasted yet.
I
One
saw
of these
this
days it might
great,
be.
seeing the GTA, I saw this great thing. I can't remember in GTA 5. I don't remember. Is it the one thing where you're a hitman, you get a target, and then other people try to kill you? It's been a while since I played.
So basically, it's basically they hunt you down. You become the target. There's a huge
Right.
bounty on your head, and everybody chases you, and you try
So
and you
I-
can't. Yeah,
This guy did this genius thing. He dressed his character like an NPC.
right.
And
Just
then after he did the hit, he just walked around the block and they completely missed him. It was fucking
Really?
genius.
Because-
Nice.
usually when they did that, you're emitting like a marker. Like as soon as they get within range of you, you flare up. So
I don't know why, but for
You
some
lucked out,
reason they
though.
didn't see him. And
Hacks.
he
Hacks.
did the NPC walk. He
hacks.
stopped.
That's brilliant,
turn.
though. That's brilliant.
Huh.
It was
That's brilliant.
genius.
But yeah, that's the way you want to diffuse the situation. You want to save somebody else, whip out your phone, I'm calling 911, and here's the description of the attacker, and there's a camera over there recording everything, and 9 times out of 10, they're not going to want to stick around because you notice after they have done the dirty deed, they bail, they get the fuck out of Dodge, they run. And they always get caught by the fucking camera by the subway entrance. They always take off, you ever see that? They always take off the mask when they go through the fucking turnstile and they look directly at the camera with face and all.
Craig, I gave
well.
you the segue to video games. You didn't take it.
I'm
Yeah.
taking the.
All right,
we
so here's
have-
my segue. Left 4 Dead 2. That's what I
Yes.
sparked up again. Oh my
All right.
god, that game is brilliant.
I started playing Mass Effect 3 multiplayer again.
Yeah, you said.
Because like 8 years later, it's still going.
Well, the interesting thing is like, I mean, it's not the same, but it's also co-op, really,
Yeah.
right? Like you never actually play against anybody.
No, it's
cooperative.
it's team 4 people.
Honestly, that's my favorite kind of multiplayer gaming.
Yeah.
It's like, like I enjoy being good at it, but I also enjoy a good group that either carries me or I carry others. I have no problem. Like so long as everybody's trying to do their best, I love a cooperative game,
But yeah.
and I have no problems with people of low
Against
skill
other people
whatever.
or
It doesn't bother me.
NPCs.
Well, yeah, like player versus environment. Like so with Left 4
Alright.
Dead, like I can do the Left 4 Dead multiplayer also, which is like 4 survivors versus 4 special zombies, and you're trying to kill each other, but it's a very different experience. It's much more intense. You got to be good. People start, it's, you know, nerves get more frayed. Whereas with the cooperative, when it's just a player versus the like 4 players or whatever versus the game, like honestly, that's why like with WoW, World of Warcraft, that's why I ran, like they have these mythic dungeons. I haven't done it in a while now, but I got really into just running these mythic dungeons over and over again, you know, with either friends I knew or just randos, like, and just, you know, just finding your way through that challenge together, you know, like
Right.
that's, I don't know, that's my favorite kind of experience with other players. in games.
We're at the 2-minute mark, so why
it's
don't
a
I
7
think
we?
I got 6.
Yeah, it's
Well,
a 7, like 6 minutes, 55 seconds.
I'm gonna, yeah, but let's take a 5-minute break so that way we can get the full 40 back when we come back online.
Time goes faster in Queens, apparently.
It does.
Yeah, apparently.
All right, so let's take a 5-minute break and we'll meet again and do part 2. Like, obviously, this is what's going to turn into these podcasts. It's going to be 2 parts. All right,
We should release one on the weekend, one on Wednesday.
I know, right? We should have a
Thank
cliffhanger.
you.
You know, like basically, I took the knife and I was about to.
Well, this will be easy. This will be easy for when we have Patreon subscribers. We can we can have the like for last week, the bullshit episode, that's for the freebies, and then when we actually got into the fun subject, that's the Patreon subscriber only.
All right.
So
No,
I'll
it,
see
should,
you.
it shouldn't be only, it should be early to the Patreon
There
subscriber.
you go.
not
All right.
only.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of paywalls. You know that.
No, I know. Yeah.
All right. I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes.
All right.
All
But you
right.
said you got to send a new thing.
Yes,
Or
I will
no?
send a new.
Yeah.
I'll send a new
All right,
thing.
cool.
All right.
All right.
Later.
Later.